Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day.
Welcome to Tales from the Field. My name is Bradley. No. I'm Josh Luedeman, and we're back, and less ball, but better than ever. Last week, we eased back from Memorial Day, did our Azure Data Community Roundtable like we are today on Tuesday. Then on Wednesday, Brad was back again with Microsoft Fabric, blob storage event triggers in data factory pipelines. So much to see. You don't want to miss anything at all. And of course, we got to go through this. If this is the first time you're finding us, head over to our YouTube page, like this broadcast, and subscribe to our channel. Want to interact with the show? It's easy. Right now, we're streaming exclusively out of the epicenter of Tales from the Field on YouTube. Comment on our stream, and one of our amazing co-hosts will review your comment, possibly throw it up on the screen, but almost guaranteed to completely distract me. All right? And of course, before we get any further into the show, I want to start first and wish an early happy Father's Day to all my friends here on the show and out in the community. But let's introduce those co-hosts. I'm joined by the mountain man, Daniel Taylor. The second best beard in the business since I'm hosting today, Andres Padilla. Errol Flynn himself, Marco Aurelio Cardoso. And the man that Chuck Norris says is the father of every year, your friend and ours, Neeraj Jhaveri. All right. So, of course, we'll do our regular quick call to actions that we go through. First of all, we want to take a look here at the Azure Data Community. If you're looking for a user group in your area, or if your user group is not part of the Azure Data Community, please come on over to the webpage here. Link is actually in the comments or description of the video. Find a user group. If your group isn't a part of it, go ahead and submit your group to be a part of the Azure Data Community. And of course, also, if you're looking for any content from any of our amazing content developers that we're going to be featuring in today's episode, a lot of them present, a different SQL Saturdays or Data Saturdays. Head over to SQLSaturday.com and see if there's an event coming up near you. We have Trujillo and also Dan Taylor and Bradley Schott coming up at SQL Saturday South Florida on June 29th. If you're in the U.S. as well, there's Baton Rouge on July 27th, along with South Island on July 27th. The bustling metropolis of Albany, New York on August 3rd, and so on. If none of those events are actually available to you, there's also datasaturday.com. Head over there. We've got some great events coming up all around the world. We have Data Saturday Rhineland on June 29th, Brisbane on July 20th, South Island July 27th, Columbus August 17th, Oslo at the end of August on the 31st. All right. And we also have coming up, of course, the European Fabric Community Conference coming up September 24th through 27th in Stockholm, Sweden. Still waiting for word to see if anybody from Tales from the Field will be there. We have high hopes, though, and lots of excitement going on there. And if you have the time and have the availability, we really do encourage you to, attend the event. And then, of course, most importantly, the Fabric Learning Community on LinkedIn. It's for all the fabricators out there. We have members of the product group in there, ourselves in there, and also just loads of content all the time being shared in by other fabricators around the world. If you have questions or looking to get involved in the Fabric community, we encourage you, please check out the Fabric Learning Community on LinkedIn. Great resource. And it's actually where we farm a lot of our content, frankly, to share here on the roundtable when it comes to Fabric. It's a great source of information. So, gentlemen, welcome back to another community roundtable. I'm trying not to mention Brad because, yeah, he's off on a government mission to bridge the gap and solve global peace, or now galactic peace with aliens. But Dan let the cat out of the bag. But yeah, unlike me, I was abducted. Now he's trying to do all the peace treaties to settle all the political unrest that was created when they abducted me.
Definite mission of diplomacy. You can stir things up there, my friend. Really can.
Well, that's why they sent him for the diplomacy, because they got me pretty angry and I ran my mouth, and now it's an intergalactic, political. It went bad. But I mean, come on. I was getting ready to have a perfectly good English muffins for breakfast, and they swiped me. I didn't even get a chance to have, a nice English muffin with jelly on it or anything. I was mad. Yeah, well, it is a lot of pressure, and you deserve to wear it, sir. Brad says that's a lot of pressure.
Speaking of pressure, why are folks here, Josh?
Why are they here? I don't know. Why are they here? Oh, wait. They're actually here for the Azure Data Community Roundtable. All right. So without further ado, and to spend too much time not getting through what we need to for business today, let's head right over to today's links. And the first one we're going to start with is from Mr. Neeraj Jhaveri, and it is announcing new Data Factory connectors released in May of 2024. Neeraj.
Thanks, Josh. Josh, great to see you as a man in the hat hosting the show. And I think the region should just keep Brad for a couple of days, take him a break, let him negotiate whatever he's doing up there, keep him up there. Anyway, so new connectors. The biggest connector that came in was the Oracle database connector that a lot of people were asking for. Now you can connect Oracle database directly using the Oracle connector. What they're showing it up is key features, what it would support, what it would not. MySQL connector is another big one that came in. Azure AI search connectors, Azure file connectors, Dynamics AX connectors. So all of the, and the biggest one is Google BigQuery connector. That was one that was being asked for it.
That's huge.
So yeah, there are a couple of new connectors, upcoming connectors. If you go in there, there are a few new coming up soon. How to get started? That shows you all the connectors. You can just go select your destination, and it will show up in your connector part of it. If you don't see it, reach out to one of us, and we'll definitely try to reach out to the PG and get you the answers of it.
No, that's great. That's great. And yeah, it's good to see a lot of these connectors starting to show up more in Fabric and getting to that point of feature parity that we all are, waiting for, between Data Factory and Fabric. So definitely a lot of good headway there, and a lot of important connectors there too. I like that with the Snowflake and Oracle, and even Oracle Cloud Storage and stuff too. Good stuff. Thanks, Neeraj. Next, we go to the man in the mountains, the man out there ready to smoke whatever you've got in that nice smoker behind him. Smoke him if you got him. There you go. We have Mr. Daniel Taylor with what Microsoft Fabric means for your semantic models, new options and approaches, and might I add, contender for longest title for this week, but we'll let that go. It's just he's throwing his hat in the ring, people. Dan, what you got?
Hey, you gotta always compete to be the best there, And speaking of connections, right? This is a great way to speak about connecting up your data to your semantic models. Well, Kurt Bueller here goes through some new options and approaches with our Microsoft semantic model. He first gives us, what semantic models mean to and how integral they are to Microsoft Fabric. And by the way, I love the artistry. I wish I could be this person, right? The person that could draw and create this artistic approach inside their blog posts. Folks who do this, you're amazing. The time and effort you put into this is so cool. I love that little graphic there about the different personas within Fabric, right? Kurt then goes through and talks about the new semantic links and notebooks, direct link storage mode, Git integration for Microsoft Fabric, right, where it integrates with our Azure repos. Then he goes through what this article is going to explain, why the semantic models are so important to us. And what's really cool is not only does this article provide us some information about what this semantic model means, but Kurt throws us and not only gives us one, not two, but three different scenarios that we can click on and learn. Talks then about Fabric providing more choice. And there we go, speaking about connections, right? Connect and perform your data, right? So thank you for presenting those connectors in the beginning there. And then what is the best scenario for you, right? And once again, made a play off of that meme we see out there, and I love it, direct link or import, right? That made me giggle the first time I saw that, still makes me giggle. And what's most important is that you need to select the best options that fit your needs, workflow skills, and available resources. We say this so much when we speak with Fabric customers because they're like, what should I do? Work with what you know. That's why all those options are there. And then, going through the different scenarios, you're going to have scenario 1, which deals with data scientists in a small business. Scenario 2, analyst reporting from many sales teams in a region. And scenario 3, enterprise BI team. And then goes up with some conclusions here. Look, I even need to go back through this article that links to these 3 articles because it's a lot of great information. And I really want to thank Kurt for the amount of detail and the amount of detail. Sorry, Kurt, I just lost my train of thought mid there. But yeah, it's an excellent article. Definitely worth a read. Check out the link, folks.
No, absolutely. And I was caught by the graphic design in here too, Dan, because I'm looking at it going, wow, Kurt really spends a lot on a graphic designer. That was my first thought, because never in my imagination would I think about doing all this because I do not have the skills for it. But yeah, then I was like, oh, wait, he must have the skills for that, because that is a lot of money right there.
And if you didn't pick it up, it's data goblins. So all the artistry is goblins. So this is data goblins. I kept using Kurt the name of the publisher, but this is data goblins. I just love it. It's an amazing artistry and amazing post.
Definitely. Thank you for this, Dan. Appreciate it so much. Next, we go on to Mr. Andres Padilla with one-click activate Python environment VENV in VS Code. Andres, what do you got?
Oh my God, I think you guys, if you want an extension and you need this extension, download this extension. It'll help you manage your Python virtual environments in VS Code so nicely. I loved it. The Python in Office, there's this YouTube channel called Python in Office, and I stumbled upon them, and they had this great post, and I watched it. In 4 minutes, you'll download the extension. You'll learn how to manage your Python virtual environments, download libraries, keep libraries and up to date. Make sure that you don't have any library conflicts within your Python environment. It is a great tool set, especially in today's day and age. I'm doing a lot of work with all these OpenAI SDKs, semantic kernel, LangChain, and the list goes on and on. So you have to manage all these libraries, and you have to be able to create virtual environments in order to play with these SDKs. Make sure you don't have any conflicts with your base library. If you're working with Python, download this extension. It's worth its weight in gold. It's a win-win. In 3 minutes, you'll have it set up. It's awesome.
No, it's awesome, Andres. Thank you very much. Yeah, You can't handle this extension.
I know.
Nice, Brad. Nice. You can't handle the truth. We need to figure out how to start throwing in random gifts in here during a show because, you can't handle the truth is so good to just jump in randomly as you go, while you're going over an article or, something that just blows your mind. Anyways, I ramble too much, but that's okay. Next, we're
Leave
going
it.
to go over what's going on. What?
Leave it to Brad to be out of the office negotiating for peace among galaxies, and he could still take the train off the rails in a funny way.
Absolutely. Like I picture him right now sitting across the table from the Martian Manhunter, like pulling out his phone quietly under the table like this, going, "Oh yeah, yeah. I'm in on the show." He's got an AirPod in one ear, but it's the ear that he keeps away from the Martian Manhunter. So he's like sitting like this so he can hear the show randomly. Yeah, it's totally that. Totally that. So what a great segue. Aliens to Marco, who brings us 6 real-world uses of Microsoft's newest Phi-3 vision language model. Marco, what have you got here?
So this article, a little BuzzFeedy title, I've got to admit, but I read through it and I absolutely love how it leads you through the different use cases for Phi-3. I was super excited the moment Phi-3 hit the AI Studio, once it became available to us, when it's now available in the Transformers library, so it feels like you're just writing Python code, and it downloads everything, sets everything up for you. And this is especially interesting because it deals in images. So Phi-3 is this family of models, of small language models, which can run just about anywhere. I set them up on my home PC. It doesn't mean it'll run fast. My PC is an old little thing, so it had to, it was whirring up to the max, but it did work. And you can now use these models for images too. So we go through these 6 different use cases. You got things like, hey, what's in this image? What kind of text is there? You even got a scenario there where it recognizes a character from a TV show. If you scroll down, you'll see it. Interpreting graph data, object detection, all sorts of things that didn't used to be quite possible if you've worked with vision recognition up to a couple of years back. It was usually just a description, like you would feed it an image of a graph and it would say, hey, it's a graph. There's some information there. I'm not going to go into details. Now it absolutely does go into details. It extracts tables. It extracts data. It recognizes all sorts of different fonts. So this is a really big leap, considering this is a model that can run just about anywhere. And you don't have to pay anything for it. It's open source. It's out there. You just got to download it and use it. So it's got code samples. It's got a demo right there on the references. So really cool article. I'll certainly check it out. I had a blast using Phi-3 for text so far. So I'm really excited to try the multimodal capabilities now.
Definitely. And of course, Bic lighter in the other. Like, is he doing? So Brad says phone in one hand, Bic lighter in the other, because of fire. Like, is he? All I can picture is him like a concert. Like, is he that out of it, where he's just going like this with a lighter, with no one? Because that would look really weird sitting at the table with the Martian Manhunter going like this while trying to have peace conversation. I'm really confused right now. Because if it's peace, why are you trying to use fire? The Martian Manhunter's like biggest.
Should I ask GPT to create an image for you? Brad holding a lighter and.
Oh no! You know what? We'll do that after the show, and we'll post it to the Twitter account. Neeraj, call me after the show. We're gonna do this.
Yep.
I know. I that's what I was getting to, Brad. Yes, his weakness is fire. Then if you're trying to have peace talks, why are you bringing fire? That was my point. I do understand that. All right. So now that Brad has completely derailed me, I'm going to go ahead and go forward with my article, which one that I brought today is always encrypted versus always encrypted with secure enclaves. So when you hear folks in the community, like our friend Thomas Larock, who literally, who writes a book about it as well, the accidental DBA, and has talked about that previously. I am definitely that person. So I know what always encrypted is, and I had heard of always encrypted with secure enclaves, but didn't actually fully understand what it was. So when I saw this, I read more just so I could understand what it is, and why it would be a good use. And in this article, Peter goes through and does a great job of walking through what exactly always encrypted is, which is, to oversimplify so that you'll go ahead and read the article, is encryption in motion, right? And then he goes into what always encrypted with secure enclaves actually means, breaks it down, talks about, the different ways to, technologies you can use to implement it. Why would you use it? Which for me, again, architect at heart more than anything else. I'm looking at that going, okay, that's really cool technology, but why? Right? And he does a great job going through it, and then also gives you all the docs articles, data exposed episode, always a fan of data exposed here, on Tales from the Field, and also a GitHub demo, because every single person on this panel loves and does better when we get our hands dirty in the actual code and setting up some of these things. So just a great article, especially for someone, like me, who's, needs to get a little bit deeper in some of these technologies and understand exactly what's going on there. Right? Now, I know Mr. Daniel Taylor knew the difference between always encrypted and always encrypted enclaves, because he's the brains of this operation, let's be honest. Don't bring a match to a Martian Manhunter fight, but a BIC is just a mechanical match. I'm going to leave that there. Okay. All right. All right. Up next, while I clear out that one to keep it going, we have Mr. Neeraj Jhaveri competing for what was going to be the longest title as far as what got put into our links, but it actually is a lot shorter. May 2024 recap, Azure PostgreSQL Flexible Server.
I
Neeraj, what
was
do we got
thinking,
here?
I was thinking every time the longest wins, this time the shortest should win. So everybody's fighting for the
Well, I'm
longest.
seeing all these extra words in here, and I'm looking at it going, did you add extra words to try and cheat your way into the finals? So I'm wondering here, buddy, and I just want to let you know I'm watching you.
Mm-hmm. So Varun is like whatever things were released for PostgreSQL in the 2024 build. He's putting all that stuff together. The biggest one was generality of Azure AI extension. I mean, now everything is AI integrated. So yeah, Azure AI extension was one of the biggest thing. He's showing you what exactly that means, and how you can use AI extensions into the PostgreSQL server in there. He also goes on the preview of how to use it up, and then he also is giving you a preview of automated index tuning that can help you up in there. The other availability that came into was availability of IOPS scaling, which was one of the asks that a lot of people were asking for flexible servers. Now you can have different types of tiers and all this stuff, and then he's going to he goes on the improvements with the cast in the PostgreSQL. So a lot of improvements that were released in the May build. We are also asking Varun to come on the show one of the days to just talk about Postgres. So that is something coming up soon for the viewers.
No, definitely good article. I'm excited to dig in a little bit with the Azure AI extent, BIC plus whiskey. What, you didn't think I had whiskey on? No, everybody knows you have your flask on you, Brad. We all know you had whiskey on I don't know that on a vacation I recommend whiskey before noon, but definitely not a Bic with whiskey before noon. That sounds like something from Cocktail. Yes, I'm dating myself back to the 80s with Tom Cruise, but Cocktail gone wrong. Like this is something that's going to end up on one of those epic fails, Instagram accounts. Seriously. So let's, Fail Army is a good one. Yeah. So Brad's competing for Fail Army. That's what I read. All right. And Neeraj, thank you for that. Lots of good stuff there with AI. The AI extension, especially, definitely one I was excited to see land, but also the database tuning, just because it doesn't matter the database platform. I'm terrible at index tuning and IOPS tuning. So it's great to see. All right. Next up, the man with the beard, the biggest beard in the business. We have Mr. Daniel Taylor. Team of Rivals, what modern leaders can learn from Lincoln's inclusive approach. This one's
And
interesting.
before
What do you got?
this isn't interesting, but before we go into that, I wanted to talk about the secure enclaves, right? And there was noise outside my house, and I couldn't come off mute. I was like, curse you, noise. But no, it's awesome because before, with always encrypted and deterministic, we could pull that data back, right? Search on it, but you would have to pull it back to your local machine, and you'd have to do your data there. With these secure enclaves, now the database engine has like this memory on its side, dedicated memory that it's accessing over there. So the data is not leaving your server. So it's extra protection. So it's secure enclaves. If you can utilize them, there's a definite win there. So, but back to our regularly scheduled program, Team of Rivals, what modern leaders can learn from Lincoln's inclusive approach, by our CVP, Billy Anders, of Microsoft in Azure Engineering. What I love about Billy is Mr. Anders is he brings to light a lot of different things. He challenges us when it comes to DEI. And I was out there because Juneteenth is coming up. And as you all know, I love reading about different events that have changed the history of America. America hasn't been this static environment. And with Juneteenth coming up, I've been focusing on Hannah Jones, the 1619 Project, for a while now. Every Juneteenth, I take a chapter out of there and I review. Well, here, Billy provided a new reading event for me about Lincoln's inclusive approach by an author, Doris Kearns Goodwin, Team of Rivals, The Political Genius of Abraham Lincoln. Now, I don't think I'm going to get it all listened to or read by the time Juneteenth hits, because it's a 900 plus or 41-hour listen, but I'm going to give it my best shot. And what Billy goes through here is he goes through about the book, and then he shares 7 lesser known facts about Lincoln, and then asks you a question. What are you doing from a DEI perspective to learn from these, maybe one of these different 7 unknown facts about Lincoln? And he talks about Lincoln and the genius and how he handled the leadership in a very eclectic, shall we say, environment back in the day. And it's really great. And it led me to want to share. I watched over the weekend, and it's another book I have for Juneteenth, that is June 19th, is Stacy Spikes, Black Founder, The Hidden the Hidden Power of Being an Outsider. It's going to be a great listen. And I learned of him from Movie Crash, which, watch the documentary. It's heartbreaking until the end. I'm not gonna, if you don't know the whole thing about MoviePass, but Stacy Spikes in that was very inspiring to me in how he shared his journey about going through his company that he founded, MoviePass. Sorry. So yes, great stuff.
Yeah. That is awesome, Dan. I really appreciate it. Really appreciate you sharing it. Billy is probably one of the biggest champions around that I've, well, not around. I shouldn't say that. That's too definitive, but definitely the biggest champion of DEI that I have ever worked with but have worked for. Really insightful, no fear to challenge anything, and I really appreciate that and love that. So I'm glad you shared this article. It's a good one, definitely a good one. I'm looking forward to reviewing it. Definitely. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
All right. Anything else? Sorry, I think I cut you off, Dan.
No, I said you're welcome. Continue
Oh.
on, my friend.
Thank you, sir. So from there, we're going to go heading over to AI, and we've got Andres with create generative AI experiences using Phi.
You guys, this feeds off of Marco's article, which Marco, great article, bud, on the where you can apply Phi 3, especially in vision language models. I'm going to read that. But what Sam Kemp and Yufeng Li from the Microsoft AI Frameworks team, they had a great session during Build. And in that session, 2-3 weeks ago now, they explain how to grab a Phi 3 model and then how to work with it locally through the AI toolkit within VS Code. But what I really like about what Sam does is he lays the groundwork nicely for us. He explains what are the different tools that you have under the hood that you will use to either bring in your Phi model or those small language models, and then how to package them accordingly so that I can deploy them to different environments. I can deploy them to Windows 11 machines. I can deploy them to Linux machines. I can deploy them onto mobile, or different types of sensors. So what he shows us is what's under the hood, how to optimize those models, how to fine tune them, and how to use the AI toolkit to make this all happen. I suggest you guys go download the AI toolkit, install that in VS Code. It's going to make your life so much easier when working with 5.3.
No, that is awesome, Andres. Yeah, so I've seen, again, not one of the deep AI, large language model, small language model person on this show, on this panel. But I did start to hear, and I'm definitely behind, but at least started to hear about it within the last few weeks, specifically Phi, and, or last couple of weeks. And so this intrigued me, when you shared this, and then also Marco, your article earlier. So definitely a lot definitely a lot of good stuff in here for me to update on, and really for any one of our viewers as well. Thank you for sharing it. Appreciate it. So next we go to Marco, new generative AI app evaluation and monitoring capabilities in Azure AI Studio. Marco, what is this?
This is one of the shortest titles I've ever brought on the show.
know.
And also a very cool article about evaluation. It couldn't be here in a better time. Right now we have so many models, so many small language models, large language models. Some are multimodal, some are not. It's really all over the place. So in that multitude of models, we need a way to properly evaluate them. So we need to, versions are coming up every other week. Even on a same model, you get a new version, you get new data, you get a new fine-tuned version of that same model. So we need a consistent way to evaluate, is this still working when we deploy an AI application? We need to make sure that the thing that we're building, as we build on top of it and we add new functionalities, that it still does what we expect it to do. So this article talks about the tooling inside the AI Studio for evaluations and continuous monitoring of AI applications. So this is a huge step, pretty much a prerequisite if you want to get anywhere close to LLM ops. So operationalizing these AI models in a way that you can consistently tell, are they hitting your targets? Are you okay to move to production? when and how should you update your prompts or update your training data. So it covers all the evaluation metrics that we had heard about up until now. So things like concisiveness, coherence, groundedness, which are different metrics about the quality of content generated by AI models. But it also packages that within an evaluation package that's now available in the AI Studio. So you can write your own evaluators based off of your metrics and run them on top of your test data. Things like, it could be a critical set of questions that your model is supposed to answer. It could be a set of red team questions designed to break your model, and it's expected to be robust enough to handle them. So each of these tests are written as an evaluator, and that evaluator continuously posts metrics about your models. So this can happen both at the design phase, so as you're building your application and making sure that it works, but now you also get the ability to attach those to a deployment. And if you scroll a little bit down, you'll see that in the AI Studio, so that every few requests that you make to the model, you get a sense of, is it behaving correctly? Does it behave the same as it did in your test phase and in production? And you can continuously evaluate and plan for risks. This is a huge step forward in terms of operationalization of these models. I had not seen this myself. This AI Studio is changing. It looks like every week we get new buttons, new knobs there to play around with. So I'm really excited to test this out. I've been in a data science role before, so this is really exciting for me in that sense.
Well, and to say like you had me at hello, that you had me at operationalization stuff, monitoring and things like that. Marco, you know me well enough that as soon as you started, I saw this article getting into those topics. I'm like, tell me more. Tell me how we make it real.
You are the operations guy, Josh.
Yep.
So Marco, this leads back to a question I had about your previous article, 5.3, I think it's called. Because with responsible AI and that, with open source models, right, people can go in there and they can add anything to that model. It has to go through a check-in part, but is from a responsible, this helps us make sure that we're doing responsible AI with those open models like that Pi3, because we can run it through this, run it against our tests, make sure the groundedness, and like you said, the illicit content or the bad content, this can evaluate for that. So that's great. I was like, how do you make sure that it's responsible if it's an open source model, right? It's a LL or a small language model. How do you make sure it's a responsible model that isn't going to do bad and not good? That's cool. Great.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
It's something that OpenAI did very well up to a certain point, where they built in this responsible AI functionality into their models to a point where if you just take their model off the shelf and try to use it, it's already got some safeguards in it. But that's not the case for every model. There's open source stuff there where that just wasn't considered at the design phase. And we need a way to consistently make sure that they're safe enough to use, right?
Yep. Definitely. Thank you, Marco. Appreciate it. Fun article. I'm looking forward to digging into that one as well.
And Josh, and wrapping it up, the greatest looking man in a hat, Josh Luedeman, wrapping us up, bringing the final article of the day. 10 years of Kubernetes.
Yes, 10 years of Kubernetes. So,
Shortest title.
What's that?
That's the shortest title, shorter than mine.
Right? Right? Yeah, but for me, honestly, when I looked at this and I saw this, because I didn't realize it had dropped, and then I started, obviously aging myself and got really depressed. And then once I got out of the depression, I was like, oh, this is great. Because for me, 10 years ago when Kubernetes launched, I was a part of a community of industry analysts in technology called Tech Field Day. And I was sitting, literally having a conversation at lunch in between presentations from different organizations, different companies. And I was literally watching an argument go on in front of me between one of the early adopters of Kubernetes, all excited, heard about it coming out. He's testing it in the lab and in his lab and stuff like that. And a Docker champion preaching Docker Swarm, Docker Swarm. So literally, I remember like the year or two after Kubernetes launched, its first 2 years, because it was so crazy of people just banging their heads. I mean, we go through that, Dan, you go through it with SQL Server versus Oracle or Postgres or whatever, Andres and Marco, you guys go through it, Hugging Face versus, OpenAI models and whatever. There's always that kind of friction, that hammering going on in technology of mine is better than yours. And so when I saw this article, it threw me back to that. I'm going, I remember this. This was just craziness. But Kubernetes, in a lot of ways, is, it was a converging of technologies, but it really is one of the most important platforms, I feel, in a developer, whether it's a data developer, app developer, doesn't matter. It's one of the most useful pieces of your, arsenal, your toolbox. We can use Kubernetes here now to run SQL Server instances on our laptops, a lot more lightweight than the VMs we used to have to run prior to Kubernetes and containerization. And really, Kubernetes, I feel like, helped advance containers into more of a reality in more IT shops than ever before. But this article does a good job of, talking about its humble beginnings in June of 2014 with a 250 file commit with over 47,000 lines of Go, Bash, and Markdown code. And now it's up over 88,000 contributions, more than 8,000 companies, 44 countries, and all the notable milestones in between. So really, I wanted to share this article to say from the bottom of my heart, happy double-digit birthday, Kubernetes. You're looking good. You don't look a day over 5. There we go. That sounded creepy. But anyways, that is all the articles we had for today. So I guess it's time for the wrap-up. And oh, my lovely producer in training already on the good stuff. Thank you, sir. So what we want to do is make sure that you don't forget remember to check out SQLSaturdays.com, DataSaturdays.com. We also have coming up, Future Data Driven is coming up. The call for speakers closed almost a couple weeks ago. Looking forward to hearing who gets selected. And of course, I don't even need to wait for Brad to throw it to me or complain I'm taking too long.
Live 360.
It's almost time for Live 360, where you will be able to see some of us from Tales from the Field, and it will be on the beautiful, luscious, picturesque grounds of the Lowe's Royal Pacific Resort and Conference Center, on the beautiful, entertaining, energetic grounds of Universal Studios Orlando, Florida, across town from one. Gentlemen, I know I missed something. Tell me what I missed.
All the links will be included in the video to all the posts you saw there today, so be sure to check them out. It's all about community. Support our community, folks.
Definitely. Thank you, everybody. Thank you for not booing me too bad in the comments. Brad, go vacation and solve galactic hunger. All right. We'll talk to you later, everybody.
Good day. Wake up. Today's gonna be a good day.